What's up, YouTube? It's the one and only Division 18, and welcome back to another video. NFL free agency and trades have been affecting every single team in the NFL over these past couple of weeks. Every team except for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys, who have made minimal moves to their team and have decided, I guess, that their team is good enough as is, or that the draft is only needed to improve their teams to become Super Bowl contenders. And while I don't think that's the case, while what those two teams have at least in common is that they have solidified starters at the quarterback position entering next season, which was a question at least a quarter of NFL teams were facing this coming offseason. But those answers for these teams have been answered in one way or another. And what's interesting is that these teams were in such a rush for these quarterbacks, and we're still a month away from the NFL draft. That either shows the lack of faith that teams are having in younger quarterbacks, or maybe that's just a shot at these season's quarterback class specifically. No matter what, these teams have new quarterbacks, new leaders, new destinies, and I'm here to break them down. First things first, though, I have to leave out Tyrod Taylor, who was traded to the Cleveland Browns, due to the fact that I have already done a separate video on the Cleveland Browns as a whole. I'm also leaving out Drew Brees, who resigned with the New Orleans Saints, who I had no doubt in my mind he was going to resign. Blake Bortles, who re-signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jimmy Garoppolo, who signed his new contract with the San Francisco 49ers, who was much like Drew Brees and was expected. And Alex Smith, who was actually the first quarterback change this offseason, due to the fact that I'm going to be making a separate NFC East video coming up, because that division in itself has changed dramatically this offseason. But with all of those quarterbacks being left out, we still have 5 new quarterback changes, while some hold more implications than others, but still moves. So with that, we go from our biggest moves to our smallest moves. Okay, with number 1, we have Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was no doubt the number 1 quarterback entering this season's free agency. While some quarterbacks you can say have the same skill level as Kirk Cousins, the fact that he's only 28 years old and basically a 24-year-old body due to sitting his first couple of seasons is a nice touch. And with the deal that Kirk Cousins signed was not as blockbuster as we all thought it was, not as long-term as we all thought it might be, it was the perfect deal for the Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins, in my opinion. While signing a 3-year, $84 million deal, he does become the highest paid quarterback in the NFL and is set to make every single penny of that contract. But on the side of the Minnesota Vikings, this left money on the table for next season when players like Anthony Barr, Stephon Diggs, and Eric Kendricks are set to become free agents. And while a lot of money and sacrifices did have to happen in order to make this possible, the biggest loss for the Minnesota Vikings on the offensive side of the ball was Jerick McKinnon. But when you have a replacement like Dalvin Cook, you can't really argue that that's not an upgrade at the position. Kirk Cousins is no doubt a franchise quarterback in this league, and that's why I think this was no doubt the best move for Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. Number 2, Case Keenum. From the Vikings to the Broncos, yes, my very own Broncos, I can't be angry with this decision. Kirk Cousins had all of the leverage entering the quarterback market, and it was well known whoever was going to sign him was going to have to pay a lot of money, which was unnecessary thing for the Denver Broncos. A 2-year, $36 million deal signing with Case Keenum looks and seems to be everything that the Denver Broncos need as of right now. While looking at the Denver Broncos offense, it's rather similar to the Minnesota Vikings, just a little bit older. Both have 2-star wideouts in Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, as well as Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. But as again, they're only getting older. Both have running games with CJ Anderson and now Dalvin Cook, but CJ Anderson is older. And then the line and the tight end position, which is what made Case Keenum so elite last season, with the protection the Minnesota Vikings had and the red zone targets to Kyle Rudolph. Case Keenum is no doubt going to get a slightly older, in a way lost a step, Denver Broncos team compared to the Minnesota Vikings. but also a team that has been devoid of a quarterback for these past 2 seasons. And with only $25 million in guarantees and only a 2-year contract, nothing is guaranteed past this season. But the Denver Broncos right now are still in a boat with players that they still have 2 to 3 years left to make a Super Bowl and be in Super Bowl contention. And Case Keenum will be, I think, really what the Denver Broncos need to achieve this season to make it back to the Super Bowl. Number 3, Aj McCarron. So there was much anticipation that there was going to be an Act 2 of the Aj McCarron signing with the Cleveland Browns, but obviously that is not the case. The Buffalo Bills were the last team to sign a quarterback from the quarterback carousel that this NFL free agency was. And this signing poses the most questions when it comes to success or failure next season. It was obvious that the Buffalo Bills did not want Tyrod Taylor, even going through so much to start Nate Peterman last season for literally no apparent reason. But the Buffalo Bills have been consistently average team throughout the last decade. And I don't know if Aj McCarron is the guy to push them over the edge of being an elite organization. His 2-year, $10 million contract doesn't really affect the Bills all that much when it comes to signing and going out and grabbing other free agent targets, specifically a wide receiver. It's a position that they've been devoid of for the last couple of seasons, and it's something that will no doubt help a quarterback that really hasn't even played in his first 2 seasons. Number 4, Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is the 3rd Minnesota Vikings quarterback to sign with another team this offseason, and while the New York Jets were no doubt the worst option out of all the teams that needed quarterbacks entering this season, Teddy Bridgewater was the right way to go in my opinion. With many offers on the line, Teddy Bridgewater decided that he was going to a team where he had a chance to be their number 1 starting option. And while the New York Jets also re-signed Aj McCarron, a productive offseason for Teddy Bridgewater will no doubt win him this starting job this season. What's unfortunate for Teddy Bridgewater, though, is the fact that he hasn't played for 2 seasons. You're going to need some offensive help. And with the New York Jets, the only help around is Robbie Anderson. The New York Jets do have draft picks, though, but you just have to hope that instead of drafting a quarterback in the first round to have a competition with Teddy Bridgewater, you instead draft some help to go alongside and show some confidence in your offseason signing. But if not, Teddy Bridgewater is only on a 1-year contract, and he's also playing and auditioning for other teams in the future. Number 5, Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford, the man, the myth, the guy whose career is almost over. While yes, Sam Bradford is signing with the Arizona Cardinals on a 2-year, $40 million deal, this can't be serious. It just can't be serious for the Arizona Cardinals. It can't honestly be serious for their fans or honestly just NFL fans. This is just not long-term in my opinion. This isn't even bridge quarterback in my opinion. The Arizona Cardinals are about to go through a rebuild, a new coach, a new quarterback that will most likely be drafted in the first round of this season's draft class, and will most likely sit a season under Bradford and learn Mike McCoy's system. Then it's out for Sam Bradford, to free up that money and to re-sign David Johnson next season. With the Arizona Cardinals still have offensive playmakers like Larry Fitzgerald and David Johnson this season, unless their plan is to just hit the draft for a quarterback and just play him this season. Because like I said, I do not believe in Sam Bradford, and most loyal subscribers on my channel know that I am just not a Sam Bradford fan. This was not a good move for the Arizona Cardinals. It was too much money, and that's why I decided to put it last on this list. But that does wrap up all of the new quarterback moves. We've had 9 quarterback signings in general, but 5 quarterback moves after listing this video. Make sure to leave your comments down below on what you guys think about these NFL signings and or trades, especially number 3 to 5, because those were the most controversial. I'm a Sam Bradford hater. There's nothing you can really say about it. It is what it is. And what do you guys expect from Teddy Bridgewater and Aj McCarron this season? I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. And while you're at it, make sure to leave a like, and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos like this one throughout this NFL offseason. But other than that, thank you guys for tuning into today's video. Sam Bradford's bad, and yeah,